Hey y'all, this is a video that is a little bit late, but better late than never is what I say. Welcome to the Project Hail Mary review, the movie that fundamentally changed my 2026 ranked list for better or for worse. If you don't know, I'm on a journey to watch every 2026 new release that I can, and eventually rank them all by the end of the year. Next week, I'm going to be uploading a quarter one recap, so you'll get a list so far of every movie I've seen in quarter one of 2026, and we'll go through all of them together and talk about what I liked and didn't like about all of the films. But regardless, here we are talking about Project Hail Mary, a movie that I had an absolutely good time with, and I want you all to go out and enjoy on the biggest screen you can watch, preferably in Dolby Atmos, so that you can enjoy this movie before film Twitter tells you it's bad. That being said, let's just jump right into Project Hail Mary, starting off with the positives. The biggest positive for me is going to be absolutely Lord and Miller's ability to capture all of the elements of this story. This is not the most dense narrative of all time, and if anything, I actually think in some ways they have Marvel-ified the narrative in this film, but they do a good job of isolating it very, very heavily from the feel of a Marvel film, especially when it comes to the visual design and the acting performances actually being capable of something other than over-the-top humor or very slick action hero. Here we have Ryan Gosling portraying a character that is actually pretty deep, and a very well written narrative of the past and the present coming together in a very fulfilling way by the end of the story. I am going to try and avoid completely the actual substance of this movie, like what happens in it, because I do not think that spoiling this movie will ever do it justice to anyone. But basically, you follow Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, as he goes into space to investigate a strange anomaly that is causing the sun to die out. And that is all I'm going to tell you about this film. But from a narrative standpoint, this is already an interesting hook, and they do a very, very good job of excelling the pacing in a way where the actual mystery of what's going on with the sun is very entertaining, and how Ryland Grace as a character ties into this overarching narrative. They do a very good job of tying all of that together, and in general, Lord and Miller just did a very good job with that part of the adaptation. Now, in terms of being an adaptation, I have not personally read the book, so I cannot speak on this, so I'm going to completely avoid anything with the book aspect, but this is written by the same guy who wrote The Martian and something else, I believe. I can't quite remember what it was, but some other space novel, and those are all, from what I hear, very good adaptations. And I've heard that this is a good adaptation as well. So I assume this is a decent adaptation, at least. Other things that are absolutely phenomenal in this film are the cinematography. The way that this is filmed is just fantastic. The cinematography is Greg Fraser. He did the cinematography for Dune, Batman, and now here in Project Hail Mary, and he is phenomenal. It is unfortunate that he's going to be doing 4 Beatles biopics, so we're not going to get to see him for Batman 2 or Dune Part 3, but regardless, it is phenomenal here. The cinematography is phenomenal here. As per usual, he's a great cinematographer, kind of to be expected. There is one sequence in this that I'm just going to call the sampling sequence, where the visual design is absolutely phenomenal. Some of the best looking visuals I have seen in a film to date. And it's just very, very well done. There is not a single frame of this film that I don't think is very well executed. And the way that all of the practical sets, as well as the practical effects and practical designs, combine into each other looks really incredible. And the fact that this movie has very, very few instances of using blue and green screening, and instead opts for a more general CGI approach, is very well done, and it makes it look even more realistic than it would have otherwise. I really appreciated seeing this film in IMAX, but I do think the Dolby Atmos experience would have been better, or at least the Dolby Cinema experience would have been better. But regardless, it is a very, very well done movie for both IMAX and any other major format you can get your hands on. Going into the mixed, there is practically nothing I have to say here, other than maybe if you're a book fan, you might not get enough out of this, but as I said, I haven't read the adaptation or the book that it's adapted from, so maybe I'm wrong, but I've heard a few people say that they like the book better. It just kind of depends. So that's going to be going into my mixed, and other than that, I don't really have anything mixed to say about this movie. It's very much like there's stuff that I absolutely love about it, and then there's like one thing that's kind of like not great, and that's about it. Oh, I guess one thing I can add to the mix is that it's not Interstellar. Like, Interstellar is the best space movie that I've seen. Granted, I haven't seen all of the really highly critically acclaimed space movies, but personally, I think Interstellar is a better movie, but I have rated both of these movies very, very highly, so I would still recommend watching Project Hail Mary. Especially if you enjoyed Interstellar, I think you will enjoy this movie just as much, or at least close to as much. This is a fantastic movie in that regard. And going into the negatives, pretty much the only thing I even kind of want to put here, and this is a very big stretch, it really isn't a negative at all in some cases, is just how overbearing the humor can be sometimes. There are a lot of instances where they kind of marvelify the dialogue, and for the most part, it works. Like, it doesn't really drag anything away from the plot or the script. And if for all intents and purposes, you're following a character who is a teacher, a science teacher, at a school for like middle schoolers and younger children. So he's kind of meant to be very corny. And on top of that, wow, I can't speak. Lord and Miller, there we go. They, in general, are known to make movies for a young adult audience, and this feels very young adult. So it doesn't really bother me. That never has bothered me, but that is something to be aware of if you are going into this film expecting it to be hard, rated R, crazy dialogue, stuff like that. And that is really all I have to say in terms of a positive, mixed, negative scale for Project Hail Mary. Now I just kind of want to gush for a minute about this movie. Visually, how much I enjoyed it. Because there are so many visual elements that are fantastic in this film, and I want to kind of go in detail with it, so I am going to say right here is the spoiler section. If you have not seen this film, please click off right now, because there is so much content here that you should go watch. It is fantastic. And yeah, without further ado, let's go into the spoiler section. So, in the film, we follow Ryland Grace as he encounters an alien life form while he's out on his mission to find out why a strange, parasitic kind of bacteria is eating away at the sun. And while he's out there, he meets this alien life form that he calls Rocky because he looks like a rock. And the two of them develop a friendship bond, and they just have a very, very good time in space together as they solve the mystery of what's going on with their planet and figure out how to survive the encounter. And damn, it is fantastic. Like, the way that this little rock creature is so full of emotion and so fun and so unique to a film is great. And they just in general do a very, very good job of making you emotionally invested in both Ryland and this random little rock creature. Adding in to the stakes the fact that Ryland Grace does not remember what happened to him. Like, he does not remember the going on the space mission, and he has to recall the past, and then we get to see the past unfolding at the same time as the present. Very, very well done sequencing, and it's very interesting, and it keeps the movie fresh as you watch through it. And some of the side characters that you get to see while he's in the flashback sequences are also very fantastic. I'm struggling with the actress's name, but the main female lead in this movie, she is fantastic. Also, she has a karaoke scene where she absolutely steals the show. And just in general, they do a very good job of connecting all of the dots. And even in the humor regard, which I kind of put in the negative, there are good instances of jokes that I think are really, really well timed and very funny. Like, for example, when Ryland Grace is in the past trying to figure out how the bacteria multiplies at such an accelerated rate. Him and the bodyguard Carl devise a plan, they figure it out, and it works, and then he just makes a joke about him and Carl made a baby. And I thought that was really funny, it was very well timed, and it just was in general a good joke. And as I said, there are a lot of times where the good jokes add up, and then it makes sense. And I think that is the charm of this movie, and if, for some people it's going to be a turnoff because the charmingness of it is a little corny, but I really liked it. I thought it was charming, I thought it was fun, I thought it was a good time. And as I mentioned, and I'm going to continue gushing about, the cinematography is insane in this movie, and it is absolutely what, even if this movie would have been poorly written, which I don't think it is, the cinematography would have carried it to other levels that are beyond the writing. And yeah, I mean, it is a very engaging movie from front to back. I absolutely loved this film. It is one of my new favorite space films. It's by far the best film I've seen this year, and it's fantastic. I really love it. So if you haven't seen Project Hail Mary, go check it out. Even I don't know why you would have listened to this section if you haven't, because you're really ruining it for yourself. But seriously though, if you haven't seen this film, go check it out. It is worth every second of it. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.